I just think it's so satisfying to be able to bring in your flowers from outside into the house, from your own garden. I actually even have vases of flowers outside on the various garden tables that I have arranged around the garden. I just love them. And sweet peas, I didn't grow them for years and now I'm completely addicted. The fragrance, for me, flowers, cut flowers, there has to be glorious colour and fragrance really in at least some part of the bouquet. So here they are growing in my garden here, and there's just right next to the rose hedge there, and I just feel like there's nothing more satisfying also than not only cutting your own flowers but propagating them, growing them from seed by yourself without buying a packet. I mean, obviously, I love buying packets too when I find new varieties, but just being able to go out there, pick these dried seed pods. So I let them at the later in the summer. I let them dry out, and they stopped flowering, of course, because I wasn't deadheading them. And then once the pods were completely dry and the seeds were dry, I collected them, and this was actually the first time that I did it. I collected them, I put them in a glass jar, and then I stored them in a cool shed, dark shed, over the winter period. And by January, I could see that there were already signs that these seeds really wanted to get going and grow. Interestingly, I did buy some other varieties from the shops, from the seed store. I don't have any to compare with you now, but they were a lot smaller than my seed heads. So I was pretty pleased with the quality of my own seeds. And I think it shows because I basically potted them up with ordinary seed and cutting compost. So it has obviously some good drainage, some sand in it. I potted them in these small containers, and I also potted them in, toilet rolls, because apparently they don't like root disturbance, but I'm not so sure, because when I bought my first lot, they got a lot of root disturbance because I didn't know that, and I was yanking them out all over the place, and their roots had got knotted, and I planted them out, and they all came up absolutely fine. So I started potting my seedlings up in January, as I said, and I left these out on the table, on a garden table, covered with a sheet of glass, which was actually a sheet from an old fridge, a shelf from an old fridge. And then I also had some which I planted inside my utility area in my garage, which has two windows. So it has two aspects of light. And I felt that was enough. And it was actually not even on the windowsill. And I did succession sow also. So this is probably after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This is how they looked. So towards the end of January, you will see some are longer than others, and that's because I succession sowed. The ones that I planted in the garage did go a lot quicker than the ones I planted on the garden table under a sheet of glass. So I did actually end up bringing the ones from the garden into this utility area where I knew they were really doing well. I also later added another shelf to this draining board here so that I could add even more sweet peas, because I'm actually really determined to get lots more sweet peas again this year. So this is them today. So these ones on the right were the ones that have always been on this draining board. These ones on the left were the ones that came in from outside. And as you can see, they're still doing great. They're just a little bit behind. There's a little shelf at the back there. They're the original ones that I put in loo rolls. So they've been in the garage the whole time as well. I mean, look at them. They've got good, strong stems. They're already getting true leaves and they're looking good. And then these are some succession sowing I'm doing. Some are mine. About half of this tray are mine, and half belong to a packet that I did buy of a different variety, because I thought, well, I don't want to just plant the same colours over and over. So I will plant this variety, see how they do, and then I can't remember the variety. It's like an old variety. And then obviously if they're any good, I will collect the seeds for those as well. So these have had no grow lights, but there is a window about a metre from them, but it is on either side. So they've got one to the front and one sort of at the angle that I'm facing now. Sorry about that junk on the floor. We're having a huge clear out at the moment. I seem to have piles of rubbish everywhere. So and then these are just some sunflowers, which I've also put on this shelf, but that's irrelevant. So there you are. So I started them in January indoors by a window, and they're doing absolutely great. I'm just so pleased that they're from my own seeds as well. I'm just over the moon. So I should add that this area is unheated. There is no heating in this room, but it does occasionally warm up with when the tumble dryer's on. But other than that, and the door is frequently left open by my kids, so it gets cold in there. It's not like indoors in the house indoors. They're just protected from the elements rather than, the worst of the elements, but they're certainly not being mollycoddled in here. So definitely you could start them in a greenhouse or under a cold frame, no problem. Just another update video to let you know these things do actually work. And I'm going to save myself a lot of money because I think I spent about £15 buying the trainer plants, the sort of plugs that I bought last year. Yeah, because I've had to buy them as actual plants. It was too late to get them from seed. So I'm delighted to be doing it this way this year. It's just great fun. Okay, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.